Hey, we are live once again. I just did. But first, this is the Massachusetts Beer Reviews channel of YouTube. I'm Thomas Metal 75, and this is your Massachusetts beer review. I just did a review of some wine. Pinot Grigio 2016 black box. Got the wine glass still. But now we're going to get back to beer. This is what this channel is all about. Today's beer offering is 16 ounces from the Harpoon Brewery, which has a location in both Boston, Massachusetts, and in Windsor, Connecticut, or Windsor, Vermont. This is their classic beer that made them real famous. Harpoon IPA, hoppy floral crisp, India Pale Ale. Love beer, love life. This is, I didn't even look. Enjoy by the 15th of January 2018, so we're within their considered freshness dates. It is 5.9% alcohol by volume with a IBU level of 42. This is 1 pint. This was acquired by a family member, or a 12-pack of these 16-ounce cans. I found that uniquely awesome. On Beer Advocate, it's being considered as a English-style India Pale Ale, and it's getting a 3.62 out of 5, so definitely above average, for sure. And they say on their website, harpoonbrewery.com, they just say it's an IPA, and that it was first brewed in 1993. I guess it came out as a seasonal, and people started demanding it, so, yeah. That says, started out as a summer seasonal in 1993, one of the first IPAs to be brewed on the East Coast. People loved it so much and demanded more, so it became a year-round in the next year. And as they say, the rest is IPA story. Stupid. Our IPA finds harmony in a combination of hops, malt, and yeast so that no single ingredient dominates the drinking experience. Floral and citrus hop notes combine with a sturdy malt backbone to impart a clean, fresh finish. Our IPA is a crisp, balanced interpretation of this classic style. And I believe, according to some of the description of Beer Advocate, it says dry hop with Cascade hops. There's a floral aroma and a finish that is bitter without being harsh or astringent. Combined with a malty sweetness and the fruity esters of our proprietary yeast, those hops create a beer that is wonderfully hoppy but clean and refreshing enough to enjoy a few, and we hope you do. Alright. So, in all of this IPA nutty craze, going on in the New England area where this beer comes from, but in these New England style IPA juicy hop bombs, it's good to go back to these classic IPAs, whether they are Harpoon IPA or something like a Long Trail IPA, Loose Cannon, something from the Lagunitas IPA, something from the West Coast. It's nice to go back to what sort of started and what kind of got this whole revolution of IPAs really going. And to take note of those flavors. So, Harpoon's IPA, the Harpoon IPA, is a very copper, clear appearance. It's got a nice bright white head, as you'd expect for an IPA. And there are lots of bubbles streaming up from the glass. I'm getting a lot of caramel notes. Getting a lot of toffee sweetness. I'm getting those. I'm getting light tropical citrusy notes. And some pine in there. It's definitely more of a perfumey, florally flavor, or character in the nose, which is very reminiscent of what one would consider a, quote, East Coast IPA, which is different than, as I said, a New England IPA. And just the sweet, maybe like a brown bready malt in the background. Maybe a little bit of a toasty, crackery kind of a note there. So, cheers, Harpoon's IPA. Or, sorry, Harpoon IPA. I believe I reviewed this on Beer Advocate, and I gave it, I think, a 3.5, maybe. But I'm going to be open-minded here. Very toasty, crackery, maybe towards that brown bread side. Definitely there's a British, I can tell there's a British malt influence in this beer. It's 42 IBUs, granted, but I'd say it's more on the hop floral side of things than it is than it you know, in its flavor than a malt base. What I mean to say is there is more of a hop bitterness in the taste than the malt, so it's not a very, very balanced flavor, but the malts still do come out pretty nicely, but just not as much as I would like. There's some toffee and caramel that's reminding me of British ales, in a way. There's definitely, I want to say, light grapefruits and orangey notes. Maybe some tangerines. But definitely more of those floral, perfumey kind of hop characters in the beer. Overall, there is a little bit there's a little touch of some pine, even a lighter touch of a resinous character, but it's in there somewhere. This is what I remember when I turned 21 as, you know, maybe it's just me being in New England where I am, but I just kind of remember this as being a classic IPA flavor that I didn't really gravitate towards at that particular time period, but as I started drinking beer over the years, I've come to love IPAs, and this is just, you know, just a simple no-frills version of crazy IPAs that are coming out now. It's fairly crisp. There is a tiny bit of a brown sugar, or maybe even a tinier amount of a molasses style of a sweetness to it that doesn't last all that long. So I would say semi-dry in the finish. It's crisp, like I said, and it's, I guess it is pretty refreshing, although I think it still has a little bit more heft in it to me that I would want a different style of beer as far as a refreshment was concerned. But if you put this in front of me, you could finish it without any problems and issues. So I gave it like a 3.5 on Beer Advocate. Where am I leaning towards now on this? There's definitely a little bit of a resin as I'm thinking about that. And a lingering bitterness, so if you want a classic IPA, I guess this is a cool one to try. It's not my favorite. I'm not a huge fan of the floral kind of perfumey notes. I like more the tropical and the pine kind of tree sap resin. But I mean, if I'm gonna give it an 85 or maybe like an 84, I think that's perfectly legitimate. I just kind of, I wish, even though this has been around forever, so people seem to like it where it is, I wish it was a little bit more balanced in the malt character. I wish the malts were a little bit more balanced, and I wish maybe either if there were more malts, maybe that would balance out the hop flavors, or if there was more sweetness, maybe that would balance out the hop flavors. But I'm thinking I'm wanting more malts in the beer's flavor, so I'm gonna give that an 84. It's still a great IPA. Still is a great beer to go to. Just if for nothing else, just to see how far the craft beer industry has come when it comes to American IPA brewing. So yeah, 84. Why not? Harpoon IPA from the Harpoon Brewery. So until next time, keep tasting them great beers. Cheers. I'm not from Boston, and I will see you soon.